Hi everyone, it's Wednesday Warriors, and it's me, Arielle, and this week I'm going to be talking some more about negative thoughts. I recently did a video about stopping negative thoughts just in the last few weeks, and this week I'm going to be answering a question. I'm going to be talking about distorted thoughts that are much harder to eliminate than behaviors. And the question is basically put, how do you get rid of these thoughts? How do you let them go when you're already behavior free, maybe at a healthy weight, but your negative thoughts and fears are still in your mind? That's a really good question because I think it's a question that a lot of people have, and even people who feel like they're winning in their eating disorder, they feel like, they're becoming freer and freer, but they still have those pesky thoughts that come into play, and that's what's keeping them from being more recovered, or keeping them from being where they would like to be. So the good news is that if you are healthy and you are free of behaviors and mostly free of things like triggers, you're in a really, really good position to change these negative thoughts. So as horrible as it feels to still be dealing with those thoughts all the time, you're actually in a really good place to be able to finally combat them for good. I'm going to talk about a 3-step process, and it's very simple, but it also takes a lot of work. So I'm going to share with you a really good way to eliminate these automatic negative thoughts. Step 1 is to recognize them. So in this stage, you are aware of the thoughts. And this is the stage that probably a lot of you are in. Maybe you're not even at this stage yet, and that's okay because I'm going to explain it in depth. You find it hard to change them, but you notice that they happen. So you can try also to determine when they happen. Is it when you look in the mirror? Is it when you plan your meals? Is it when you weigh yourself? Is it when you eat? Is it when you eat with other people? Is it when you eat alone? When you're with people who make you feel at your worst? When you have a bad day? When you have a good day? Try to figure out if there are things that you can stop doing when you're looking at your list. So weighing yourself, for example, might be something that you can stop doing to put yourself through these frequent automatic negative thoughts. It's not something that you need to do or is necessarily helpful in your recovery. Things like meals that create those automatic negative thoughts are not something that should be stopped. But there may be some things in your life that you can or should do without. So in this step 1, recognizing them, when you recognize these thoughts, don't try to do anything. Don't try to do anything but go, oh, there's that thought. Oh, there's another one. Call yourself out on it, but don't push yourself to do anything about it just yet, because that's not part of step 1. You continue step 1. You do that for a while until it becomes very automatic for you to have that automatic negative thought, which is already automatic, or you wouldn't be watching this video. You have that automatic negative thought, and then you have that recognizing that automatic negative thought, and you say, oh, there's that thought. There it is again. And you keep letting yourself know that you're noticing it. Step 2 is fight them. This is the step where you do something as you recognize each thought. Don't think, oh, this is impossible, I'll never be rid of these thoughts. If you start sort of thinking that, even in your subconscious, you're going to make this so much harder for yourself. So now in this step, as you recognize each thought, now you start to say no. Sometimes that's how you start. You just say no. When one thought pops into your mind, you say no. I don't want that. I don't want to think that. That's not what I should be thinking. That's it, folks. Every time you have a distorted thought, a negative thought, whatever, say no to it. After you've begun to make that no part of your automatic response, you can start to think, I want to change this. Keep in mind, I'm not saying yet you will stop the thoughts. You're still having them. But once you do, you're responding to them. You're saying no. You're saying you don't want them. You're saying you don't need them. You're eventually saying you want to change them. You're not actually changing them, not in this step, but you're making the intention, the desire. So do that until it becomes second nature. You think I'm joking, but I'm not. Your automatic negative thoughts began and turned into a habit. So your response to your automatic negative thoughts can begin and turn into a habit too, in exactly the same way. It doesn't happen overnight, but neither did your eating disorder. So don't give up too quickly or too easily. If recovery was easy, eating disorders wouldn't exist. Okay, so step 1 was recognize them. You got that down. Step 2 was fight them. You got that down. Now step 3 is replace them. Now keep in mind, you don't do step 1 on day 1, step 2 on day 2, and step 3 on day 3 and think you're cured and have no more automatic negative thoughts. Step 1 you might do for weeks, and you'll know when it's become second nature. You'll know when it's become a habit. When each step has become part of your normal routine, that's when you'll be ready to move on to the next step. Now, this is why people give up so easily, because who wants to do this? But trust me, if you really want to get rid of those automatic negative thoughts, these are the kind of things that you will do, because this doesn't cost money. This doesn't cause pain. This doesn't take a ton of time out of your day to do, because you're already having the automatic negative thought. You're just doing something else along with it. So if you really want this, you'll try it. So step 3, replace them. Now you're ready to replace the thoughts. You automatically have them. You automatically recognize them. You automatically say no to them, wish to change each one as it happens, but they still keep coming. Now you begin to replace them. After you have a thought and you recognize it and you fight it with a no, you replace it with a new positive thought. For example, you look in the mirror. I hate my arms is your thought. You recognize that it was a negative thought and you fight it by saying, no, I don't want to think that. Then you say, they help me lift things. They help me drive. They help me hug people. Whatever. So then the full thought becomes, I hate my arms, but they help me hug people. Okay? So you look in the mirror, boom, negative thought, boom, let it flow into a positive thought, finish. If you do this long enough, your mind will see no reason to automatically think the negative thought. Your arms will not produce hate anymore. They'll just be for hugging people. Seriously, think about it. If every time you look in the mirror in the morning, your first automatic negative thought is, I hate my arms, and you just go, but they help me hug people. Every single time you do that, you're saying, I hate my arms, but they help me hug people. You do that enough, like a habit, every single time you look in the mirror, hate your arms, finish it with a positive thought about hugging people, eventually when you look in the mirror, your mind's not going to say, I hate my arms. It's going to be gone. It won't happen. Now, the length of time that this takes for a person to stop generating that automatic negative thought will be different for each person, but this is a possible thing. This is a real tangible thing for you to help your recovery, to stop those pesky thoughts from coming. You can do this for everything. Some things will take more time than others, and as new negative thoughts arise, you just use the same tools. You just add the but and flow right into a positive ending. Eventually, the positives will actually eliminate the automatic nature of the initial thought. And you'll see what I mean if you do this enough. So let's just try this with a different example so that you can see more of what I mean. So a new example. You stand on the scale. Boom, automatic negative thought. I wish I weighed less. Boom. But at this weight, I can think straight. Finish. So that's what happens. You stand on the scale. Automatic thought, I wish I weighed less. But you just smooth right into it. But at this weight, I can think straight. And every time you get on that damn scale, and every time you have that automatic negative thought, you recognize it, you hear it, you didn't stop it from happening, but you flow into ending with a positive, and you can add all kinds of endings. That's just a random example. Your ending can be, I wish I weighed less, but I am not a number. I wish I weighed less, but at this weight, I don't need refeeding like I did before. Or, I wish I weighed less, but I know that this is not healthy. Whatever ending feels right for you, choose it and use it. And keep in mind too that the more tangible and positive the thought is, the better it's going to work. But I am not a number is good and true, but it's not necessarily as reinforcing to your brain. It's not reinforcing to your brain what you can do at this weight or how good a thing it actually is. So for this example, if you're looking for a more tangible, positive thing about why the healthy weight is good, why the healthier weight is something that's more positive, you might want to choose something like, but at this weight, I don't need refeeding anymore. Something more along those lines. So you're saying like, I wish I weighed less, but at this weight, I can do this, I can do that. So again, don't knock this 3-step process until you've tried it and until you've tried it for a long time. You can't do all 3 at once, and that's where people run into problems. They try to mash the recognize it, fight it, and replace it all into one kind of step, and then they wonder why their automatic negative thoughts still keep plaguing them. You can't do one step before another either. You have to somehow go in that order so that it begins to make sense for you and you actually begin to retrain your mind, because your mind doesn't want to be against you. You have to be willing to do this. The problem is that when it comes down to it, a lot of people aren't willing to do this. But your mind, your heart, and your body can do so many positive things. So give it a try and find out.